Sunshine Rochester. If you haven't been here before, we do this every month. We have 2 to 4 startup founders present every month. Typically, so today we're going to have 4 different presenters, 5 minutes of presentation and 5 minutes of Q&A, open Q&A afterwards. It's not like a business plan competition. There are no judges. You guys ask the questions you want. With that said, there will be a couple of announcements towards the end, and Dustin here is going to be beating time. Without further ado, let's kick it off with Nura.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm one of the co-founders here at Nura.
My name is Sion. I'm also one of the co-founders here at Nura. And so I'd like to just begin this presentation off by asking the crowd, when's the last time you spent hours on a task you thought would only take you a few minutes? I'm pretty sure everyone can attest to this. It's actually a very common problem amongst everyone. And let's look at the case of Jack. So Jack has received a notification for his final project, which is due in 2 weeks. And feeling confident in the course, he believes that he's going to be able to maintain this deadline. He's going to be able to do very well. And but he finds out in the first week he's very distracted. He has other responsibilities that keep him from doing this task. And so we move on to week 2, where we see Jack, he has some urgency. He really needs to be productive, have a good focus, and he needs to be able to finish his project in a few days. But he gets distracted still, he gets burnt out because he's doing all-nighters, he's spending way too much time on this project. Whenever he takes breaks, he ends up taking breaks for hours at a time, doom scrolling on social media, and what he finds out is by the end of it, he has not done well on the project as he expected. And he hopes that for the next time he's going to be able to do much better. And so when we look at the big picture, we see that he's lost a lot of time. And especially in this certain part right here, right before the deadline, he has lost a lot of his motivation and productivity where that matters the most.
So when it matters the most, it's going to be difficult because people are having trouble keeping their focus, especially right now in a world where we're bombarded with the digitalization with social media and TikTok and everything else that is mixed in between. So current solutions really fail to address this issue where when you need to lock in, how can we best manage that? Because current solutions are managing your time and the tasks that you have to do. We want you to be able to have a more efficient approach when you have a deep work session that really has high stakes, and we need a solution that's made for each individual person, that's not rigid. So people are already wearing earbuds when they're studying, when they're working, when they have to get things done. So what we developed were really small earbuds, but are really, really powerful. You can listen to music on it, there's noise cancellation, and you can really focus in on your work, but what's interesting here is it's a focus tracking earbud. So it has EEG technology enabled into it, so right on the silicone, we kind of mix it up with conductive filaments, and now this is the electrode itself. And we're trying to gamify the productivity and focus space, and we have an app called the Deep Work app, and what we're doing is capturing EEG signals from alpha to delta signals that tells you a little bit more on your focus and stress levels. And that's because when your neurons speak to each other, it's really capturing that electrical signal when it's communicating. So with all of this, we're kind of dumbing it down to 2 numbers, the stress number as well as the focus score. And what we want to do is really gamify this entire process. So when you need a break and you're losing focus, you really don't know you lost focus until you regain that focus. So we want to tell you right at the source of the problem, you need to take a break. And we're going to gamify this entire process by rewarding them with flow points because we want them to achieve flow state. When they're starting to get stressed, what we want them to do is take a breathing exercise. And then when they have high focus and low stress, we want to give them points for that. And we want to make a community based around this product. So there's a leaderboard, there's competition within your peers, because when we talk to users, we realize that people are more productive when people around them are also productive. And we could really take the Fitbit approach with like the reward system and contests and so much more.
And we can take a look at, we can go back to Jack. Now that you know a little bit more about Nura, we can see how Jack's productivity has been affected using Nura's product. And so we see that during these times of a high stake time crunch, he's able to be more efficient with his time, he's able to optimize, he's able to achieve flow state much easier, and then he sees that he's motivated by the gamified way of of studying and being more productive, and what we find is he is able to do well on his final project, and he's able to have more time. More time doesn't only mean more time to study, it also means more time for leisure, it also means more time for sleep and better health quality and quality of life.
Yeah. So we've been building this up in-house in our lab with building advanced circuitry. We have a pretty impressive patent portfolio, a lot of which are pending and are published with the USPTO. But we really want to get directly to the user, and we're approaching a pretty big market. This technology has a lot of different potentials, not just in the productivity space, but pre-screening for abnormalities, Apple Health integration, and so much more. So we're approaching a market where the BCI boom is set to explode within the next 2 years. We're right now in the AI boom, and that's really, really great. However, you see the trends of Elon Musk with all his companies with privatized space and then electric cars. Now he's focused on Neuralink, which is with the BCI space. This is a market that's set to really grow in the next 2 years, and we want to capitalize on that. So we're trying to build this community. It's like a gym membership. So it's going to the gym to be able to be more productive, and that's all digitalized with your earbuds in mind. And we have a really impressive team with combined experience, with decades of combined experience all together in the biomedical engineering space, electrical engineering, business, and so much more. And we've got a little bit of traction so far. We were on the top 100 startups list with Founders Press as a top 100 company. With TechCrunch, we were one of the top 200 companies, but Pilot made an article. This is a top 15 must-see startup past TechCrunch. So yeah, who's ready to change how we listen with Nira?
Yeah, we're open to if you guys have any questions or yeah.
You seem to be focusing specifically on the student side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have like any plans for, different plans for different requirements? For example, someone has to be focused from clog in to clog out.
Yeah, so we right now there's an emphasis on students, but we do want to have a lot of emphasis on professionals as well. It's not just students and professionals. We see that for both spaces, they need that time where need to be more productive, need to have better focus. So we do want to show for both of those potential markets. Such as we're going to make a desktop app first for anyone that has to do projects or do their work on a computer, so that they have the interface right there available for them.
You've already made the prototype, or?
Yeah. So we're really far along the lines with the circuitry. We built numerous different PCBs. Right now we're in our third iteration that's about the size of a dime that fits in this model here. And we've been testing it for the last 2 years.
So it says that the system is capturing the information, it tells me whether or not I'm in flow state. Let's say I lapse out of flow state.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a recommended intervention to get back into it? Like, how do I know what to do to re-enter flow state?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, because there's the Pomodoro method where people try to achieve more productivity, but then it's too rigid because you have to stop at a certain point and take a break, and then you have to stop. And what if you are in flow state, but then you have to take a break and now you're out of it? The point is that we improve these work-rest cycles so that it fits directly to you in the moment. So the way we go about that is to allow you to come back to your work, because once you lose focus, you really need to just take a break and come back into it, and that's how we would incentivize that.
Can you tell us about the testing, and in particular how you're measuring productivity as an outcome?
Yeah, so we're reading beta and gamma waves from EEG signals, and these are great signals that are captured from the temporal region of the brain, as well as some data from the frontal region of the brain. And we're able to capture this data by seeing the increases in gamma waves to see stress levels, and as well as increases in beta waves, which shows higher focus levels. And we're improving our machine learning model as we
For example, we can tell if an individual is in flow state when they have high focus, low stress, so that would be seen with high activity in the alpha waves and then lower activity in delta waves.
Are you planning to do any testing where you actually measure people's work productivity as the outcome?
Yes, we definitely need to do that, and this is something that we want to capture as many users as possible to be able to build up this machine learning database.
Yep.
So I assume it's like ultimately your market would be one of the companies to improve productivity for workers.
Yeah. So we definitely want to target the younger generation of people who are entering the corporate space, because people in the sort of older generation, when we spoke to them, they're really acclimated to the systems in place with how they want to best work. But it's the people who just entered the workforce in the white collar setting, as well as entrepreneurs who really need to maximize their time as much as possible. But in the student field, it's very structured and easy to kind of map out their day-to-day with studying. So we want to go towards the student market first and expand from there.
But I mean, ultimately, if you get into like the, say, company world, it's like you could get companies who would be willing to pay for this for their employees.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that would be,
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
was that truck drivers?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. We would love to.
Except they won't listen.
Yeah, we would love to expand to all these new markets. Right now, we really need the data and the wedge into the market right now. So we want to see how it works within this market, get that data, and then see how we can fend off with other regulations and such.
Yeah, just like the Apple Watch, you have these electrodes in the back. So what we did was figure out how to put that into the ear where it's more comfortable. So it's embedded right into the silicone. We mix that up with conductive filaments, and we want to just make the Apple Watch interface for earphones.
We're going to do one last question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of people aggressively use caffeine when they're studying. How does your model handle that? Like, I mean, if you decide to go and gamify it, you're losing that game every single time by using caffeine. So how do you?
Yeah, that's something we definitely need to look into with the effects of caffeine on your brain's electrical signals. Of course, you have a spike with stress levels also increasing, with focus levels also increasing at the same time, where you're very hyper. So we definitely want people to achieve a state where they're able to kind of be in flow. So that's low stress, higher focus, and the way to do that, what we saw was keeping them kind of having a reward system around that, so they're more motivated to keep on achieving this kind of state of mind when they're studying. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the questions.
Up next, we have my positions.
This is yours.
So just by raise of hands, does anyone in here like chocolate? I'm in good company. Whew. All right. Every once in a while I get told, I'm allergic, I hate it, so I want to be sensitive to those in the room who may not relate to this content. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Melissa Mueller-Douglas, LMSW and CEO of My Retreat, Inc. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to a revolutionary new app that seamlessly combines the joy of chocolate with the power of mindfulness to enhance habit formation. Let's dive in to the delicious world of My Retreat. Employees often struggle with stress, impacting productivity and overall well-being. as a solution, we've developed My Retreats, a mobile app designed to address this issue by merging the pleasurable experience of chocolate consumption with mindfulness techniques. My Retreats offers a unique solution that's both enjoyable and delicious to cultivate mindfulness habits. Users receive daily mindfulness exercises paired with our daily dose of chocolate subscription. Imagine taking a moment to savor a piece of exquisite chocolate while engaging in a quick guided meditation. It's a delightful escape that contributes to overall well-being. Upon creating a My Retreat account, users are greeted with a 3-minute daily retreat. They then have the option to register for one of our live retreats to engage in the My Retreat community as a whole and make new friendships. People can choose to start a chocolate subscription to have quality chocolates delivered directly to their doorstep. The app provides a holistic approach to habit formation by combining sensory pleasure with mental well-being. Here's our chocolate subscription. Unlike traditional meditation apps, My Retreat uses a behavioral psychology concept called habit stacking. This helps users remember to meditate and use the app every single day to feel instant gratification. We suggest people pairing a small piece of chocolate with our daily retreats as your tangible reward. My Retreat isn't just about indulging in delicious chocolate. It's a tool for personal growth and for stress reduction. Users are experiencing improved focus, reduced anxiety, and enhanced overall mental wellness. The app guides employees on a journey towards healthier habits, creating positive impacts. Here's what Khadija Okodili, the founder of the Agape app, had to say about her team's experience. Are there any faces that people recognize? Not yet. All right. So mindful employees are more focused, creative, and resilient. The My Retreat app empowers people to manage stress effectively, which results in a more productive workforce. Companies that are using our app are bound to find improvement on their bottom line, because when you have happier, healthier employees, you're more likely to find them staying with your company, right?
We're gonna do one more.
1 minute? No worries. So, My Retreat provides a tangible solution for stress management. App users currently register for our live retreats through the My Retreat app. The next app upgrade will improve capability for leaders to customize chocolate mindfulness wellness workshops through the app. And so if you know any developer that is familiar with Figma, Flutter, I would be happy to receive a warm introduction. So now, I'm asking each one of you to take this moment to get our free My Retreat app right now. Using the QR code here. Once you download the app using this QR code, show me that you're ready by putting your phone down and your head up, and we will have a chocolate mindfulness demonstration here tonight. Great. So with that, I am interested, Tom, in answering any questions that you might have. The app is live, as you will see, and we have chocolate in the back, which is from Conexión Chocolates. It's a dark chocolate that is all the way from Ecuador, from a woman-owned company.
What are the monetary models like? Are you happy to pay for a chocolate subscription already? It sounds like it's kind of like pay for the app and
The app is free.
Yeah.
And you can pay for the
are there
chocolate.
courses?
Everything that's in there is free. Yep. You can bring your own chocolate.
So the goal is to get chocolate.
The goal is to get companies to buy chocolate. Individuals can also buy chocolate, but what we're finding is that when your entity is the one that actually buys the chocolate, has it in the wellness room, right, or available to you remotely, sending it to your home, people are more likely to actually stop and utilize the wellness resources that are available. So I hear, for instance, Constellation Brands has a wellness room coming soon, right? Great example of where our chocolate mindfulness subscription could go. What do you got?
So, quick question. So,
Yes.
do you guys make your own chocolate, or do you guys make chocolate for a household company?
Yep. So eventually we may white label, but right now I'm a member of the FCA, the Fine Chocolate Industry Association. So we partner with different chocolate companies, both locally and nationally and internationally, because the chocolate we have tonight is from Ecuador, to provide our chocolates. So we use one chocolate from Eldora Craft Chocolate, which is award-winning. Was just in top chocolate company of USA Today. We use that for our actual workshops, and then for the app, we use chocolate that's women-owned company all the way from Ecuador. Yes, yes.
More comment. We're planning on having some sort of presence at the Women in Creating Hackathon, ROC, this month, or early March. So for someone to be plugged into lots of developers and designers.
Awesome.
Usually a couple hundred students there.
Fantastic. I would,
Might be a good fit for.
yeah, I would love to attend that. Yeah, thank you. We just recently did chocolate mindfulness for RIT's executive MBA alumni group, which was national, actually international. There's one person who lives abroad currently.
How long have you been doing this for?
6 years. So I worked for the U of R. Anybody heard of that company, right? I was there for 4 years, doing this in the evenings and weekends with the brick and mortar space and the original chocolate mindfulness app. Then I, fortunately, with all of the word of mouth that spread from my clients being satisfied with our wellness workshops, I was able to go full time. So for the past 2 years, I've been full time. I did crowdfunding to raise for this current version of the app, and so here we are today. Yeah.
How did you have the idea of your chocolate with like an app?
Yeah, well, there are so many apps out there for meditation, right? It would seem that the market is saturated, but when I asked people in my initial customer discovery, I was told that people have the app, but they're not, calm, different apps, but they're not using them. And so I took my background in social work and recognized if we have a client who needs to take a life-saving medication in the morning, we do have it stacking, right? So you ask them what you do in the morning, They're always drinking coffee. You just mentioned coffee, right? They're always drinking their coffee potentially. So now when you drink your coffee, you take your medicine. So I wanted to use that for meditation. It was something that people already enjoy, and so when you pair, when you do a meditation with that tangible reward. Yes, yes.
In terms of like navigating companies like chocolate, like, have you looked into like the type of person at the company that has, like, is it direct of, you know, culture, people operations?
Chief of People, HR department overall, that's who brings me in again and again.
So you need to talk to the guys at the first app.
I heard.
To,
for those Pomodoro methods, it just has to be like a chocolate covered
you guys can get a cut on the chocolate sales.
Awesome. Yes.
Do you have options for, you know, like gluten-free, nut-free, dairy-free?
Yeah, so I just got asked today, you know, somebody wanting to do it with monk fruit chocolate. The answer to that question is when we have someone who doesn't like chocolate, we partner with our connection in the Bay Area called Kube, which is vegan, full-fat coconut milk ice cream. And that gets shipped all the way from California here on dry ice, and it's still frozen. We also partner with a local company named Mona Moon Naturals, which is providing our lip balms, which are chocolate truffle oil lip balms. So you don't actually have to eat the chocolate, but you can have the full experience of that sensory mindfulness meditation.
Ben, which TV was it?
55.
55. Great. Alright, next we have Boson Q PSI.
Hello everyone. Seems I'm in a great company here of entrepreneurs and people in the startup ecosystem. Myself, Abhishek Chopra, I'm the founder and CEO of Boson QSI. I'm an aerospace engineer and a computational scientist by training. Graduated from RPI, so that's why I love upstate New York except the cold. I've been working in the domain of simulations, large-scale simulations, first on CPUs and then on GPUs with Oak Ridge National Lab and NVIDIA. And with my co-founder, Ruth, who worked in the defense sector, we figured out that there are a lot of large-scale simulations that are out there that cannot be solved by today's computing technology. So we are developing this advanced simulation platform called SOT. So have people heard about IoT, Internet of Things? We are bringing the next revolution with SOT, which is simulation of things. So let's dive into it. What is simulation, first of all, right? Everything that you see, any product that you see physical here has been made through some kind of manufacturing process, and it requires digital engineering to really figure out what should be the design, the structural mechanics, the aerodynamics, and so on and so forth. So some of these industries I've listed out here utilize these kind of simulation. Let's give you a real world example. To make cars safer, you require these kind of simulations, so you mimic that into digital engineering. Very, very important. But still, these simulations take a lot of time. And I will give the understanding of what the time mechanism is. But this is a huge market right now. There's a lot of incumbents in the market who have been building this for past 40, 50 years. Names like ANSYS, Siemens, Dassault Systems might be some of them. Huge revenue opportunity per customer, a lot of customers are using this. But what's the challenge? That there are 78% of the simulation that the industry would like to perform cannot be done today. The current supercomputing power, the algorithms that are out there just cannot solve this problem. Why? Because these simulations are complex, expensive, and time consuming. And the reason for that is because it does not scale well. You're moving forward with the computing technology, but the algorithms, the codes that you have designed haven't stayed up to date. So what essentially this means that there is an untapped market of close to about $50 billion, maybe more, that we are still looking into tapping into. Now, what we are doing different is essentially looking at who are these customers who really want these kind of high-end simulation. One example is a company from the region called as MOOC, a big defense contractor, where they mentioned that they want to perform a lot more simulation, but they just cannot because these are so time-consuming. And for that, we are building this platform, which we are calling is the SOT platform. Essentially, this is built on two elements. You have different types of simulation. So you've been hearing a lot about machine learning, for example, optimization, differential equations, which can be paired with the algorithms. So we are designing quantum algorithms. So quantum computing is in the field right now, where essentially this is a new computing technology. So you have to write different codes. What we are essentially doing, we are writing these quantum algorithms, pairing that work with different type of simulations, but still running on CPUs and GPUs. So different applications are possible. Design optimization is one such where, for example, we are working with Airbus, which is one of our customers. Essentially, they are reducing the weight of the wing box. And what they've seen with our platform and the app is essentially 6% more weight reduction for that, taking 1/10 of the computational resource. By 6% weight saving for Airbus, they can save up to 40 million in fuel cost, essentially, and the amount of compute resource they required by about $500,000 for just one simulation. So right now we're working, as I mentioned, with Airbus. We're also working with Stryker, another medical device manufacturing company, Moog. There are about 12 more companies in the pipeline, but we are also supported by the government and R&D labs. So we signed the CRADA with Air Force Research Lab. We were one of the winners of the Griffiths Institute Defense Accelerator. Also invited by DARPA, and signed a partnership with Supercomputing Center at the University of Buffalo. We're also partnered with the companies, some of the partners I've mentioned here, the big incumbents in the market, system integrators who work with the large sectors, and also the quantum hardware companies like IBM and Strangeworks that I've not listed here. As you expect, something like this requires PhDs, but also requires commercial focus. So we are supported by top PhDs in this domain, but also some of the leaders who have been in the industry from automotive, aerospace, defense, manufacturing, where we are focusing, building this team. So we have full-time 23 members, going strong, building right here in upstate New York, I would say. And currently raising about 2 to 3 million seed round, essentially to scale this up further, because the kind of customers that we have started to attract requires more business development activity to go beyond. We have currently raised about 1.2 million from subject matter experts and industries and micro VCs, and also 600K from government grants. This includes not just grants from US government, but also government of India, and also the UK and the Netherlands government. So if you are ready to take the journey with simulation of things with quantum, happy to talk more. Thank you.
One question. I'm coming from Romania. I work with Siemens.
Okay.
I know total integrated automation pretty well. What is your platform do? It's like a database with IoTs that somebody can simulate some process, manufacturing process, or I don't know, let's say process from manufacturing from aerospace or something.
Welcome to the demonstration of BQ5, the world's first cloud-based simulation software powered by quantum algorithm.
Sorry,
Okay. My idea is it's a database of IoTs that you can simulate, or you can integrate a digital twin of something to put into your platform and to simulate the process.
So essentially, when somebody like Siemens, who's giving fluid dynamics simulation, when you upload CAD and mesh files, you click the run button, it comes into the backend. What we are doing is we are redesigning that backend. There's no sensor, there's nothing. These are algorithms and simulation type. So they're doing that with classical algorithms that have been there for 40 years or so. What we are saying is we are bringing new algorithms which are coming from quantum information science, hence quantum algorithms. So we are basically rewriting the backend of all simulation software. And these apps can get integrated into existing,
IoTs.
not IoT, but simulation
So you
software.
are working with software, not with hardware?
Yeah, we are purely software.
Okay, so you are redesigning the basis of the simulation process.
Exactly.
Congratulations.
You mentioned some current customers that are like Cherokee customers. What's like, as far as your raise your ask, what is kind of like the timing to sign a contract with the client? Like how long does it take you to close a client, and then are you guys providing a service or is it the platform? Like how do people kind of get up and running with yourself?
That's a great point. So for example, this is a POC we did with Airbus. After that, a usual enterprise contract, 6 to 7 months. So the first contract we are signing is a 40K with a recurring part, which is essentially about 6K in that. And then rest is customization. So we are building a particular app that they are wanting. We call it app. It's basically an application you can think of. Essentially what they 6 months to build that, benchmark it. Once they are tested, they will put like 3 engineers and they will pay monthly recurring on that. Next time they have, simulation is just everywhere. Just in Airbus, there are about 32 divisions that we have potential to sell to. Some working on the wing side of things, some working on the tail side of things, some were just doing quality control for manufacturing, for example, machine learning and all. So what they are doing is essentially they come subscribe for a particular application that gives the access to the platform that is the fundamental to it. And with essentially one customer like an Airbus, this can, right now with the apps we have, can scale up to 250K to 500K sort of ARR, potential to go to up to 2 million just with one business unit.
Do you have competition in the market right now? The other quantum people is huge.
So, in terms of quantum readiness, we are the first ones to do so. There's a company in Finland that have actually begun a couple of years back. That's the closest competition that comes through, but all the incumbents are working with us right now.
Come to the demonstration.
Towards this domain. I just want to quickly show the. So this is the competition map. In terms of quantum readiness, quantum algorithms, and this vertical focus of engineering simulations, we are the only player in this market right now across the globe.
Leveraging somebody else's quantum computing?
Yes, right now we are running these simulations on high performance computing, but doing R&D, that's where we win the grants to work with companies like IBM, which is one of our partners. We have Rigetti, D-Wave, and then AWS, Intel, and Microsoft, who are giving us access to their simulators and hardware.
And then this is the last question.
Just a quick question for you. Have you had the opportunity to sit down in front of the Air Force Research Laboratory, DOD? Have you been able to pitch this to them? If you did, what was their initial response?
So Air Force Research Lab in Rome, which is 2 hours from here, is the CREDA that we signed. So yes, we sat across them, and they are specifically looking at fulfilling the needs of not just simulation, but a larger computing for US Air Force. So we are working with them to right now find an end user, so an officer, a PEO officer, you can say, who will sign up. So few applications that we are looking at is in command and control sector, but that's really the business development we are doing. So at any given day, you will find me across the throughway, either going to Rome or going to Detroit for the automotive customer. But defense is a very important area for us. Absolutely. Any other questions?
How would you do that? That was the last one. We'll wrap up into my prayer.
Okay, and to close this off, micro power.
Hi, my name is Jordana Dintra. This is Alexander dial. We are from Micro Era Power, and we are on a mission to decarbonize buildings with flexible, sustainable, and affordable thermal storage solutions.
All right, so buildings consume 40% of global energy, and about 50% of that energy is used for thermal loads, such as heating, cooling, and hot water. These thermal needs drive our electric peaks and consume expensive and carbon-intensive electricity. And especially when we consider the decarbonization of heat, our electric grids are running out of capacity to supply peak loads. Meanwhile, if we look at existing storage solutions for buildings, none of them are quite adequate. Batteries are expensive, they're short-lived, and they're difficult to permit in urban environments due to fire hazards. Hot and chilled water storage is much too massive to fit into a space-constrained urban environment. Ice storage has lower efficiency and also requires expensive deep cycling chillers in order to meet temperature requirements. And lastly, existing heat storage solutions like hot bricks just don't have enough capacity. So what are we going to do? Enter Micro Era Power. We have a tunable thermal energy storage solution to provide flexible, sustainable, and affordable heating and cooling. What I mean by tunable is that we are able to shift the melting point of our phase change material to optimize the temperature at which heat is stored for the thermal needs of the building depending on the season. So we're able to store cooling at 6 degrees C for hot, humid weather, at 16 degrees C for hot and dry weather, and for cold climates we can store at 40 degrees C to 70 degrees C. This allows our thermal storage system to provide 4-season value by storing cooling in the summer and heating in the winter in the same compact footprint, therefore allowing building owners to save on energy costs year-round. So when we compare to competing technologies, our thermal storage, called ThermoPlus, is a fraction of the cost of lithium-ion batteries with multiple times the life and none of the fire hazard. Compared to ice storage, it's substantially more efficient, and compared to hot and chilled water storage, it's a tenth the size. Overall, Micro Era Power's ThermoPlus has the most potential for reducing carbon emissions associated with building heating and cooling when compared with heat pumps.
All right, we recently conducted a paid lab pilot with the Electric Power Research Institute, which was sponsored by Con Ed and NYPA. All of our performance targets were met, and external measurement and verification were provided by EPRI. We were also recently recognized as a top innovator in the thermal energy storage space by 2 separate market research firms. They sized the thermal energy storage market at about $5 billion, with a compound annual growth rate of 12.8%. We have 2 pilots planned for 2024. One will be held at Smith College in Massachusetts with a focus on geothermal heat pump integration. The second will be right here in Rochester with 1,500-gallon modules and an air source heat pump. We are also planning low-volume assembly for early adopters in 2025 and UL licensing and scaling up in 2026.
All right, so Micro Era Power is currently looking for investors for a $2 million pre-seed round, and also looking for early adopters for our demonstration projects in 2025. If any of that would be interesting to you or anyone you know, you can feel free to talk to one of us or reach out to our CEO, Ellie Rustling, at the contact info on this slide. Thank you all for your time.
That's one way to save power.
Questions?
That's a demonstration of what happens when we don't implement storage in the grid fails. Yes?
Can you explain a little bit more about how that technology works? So you said phase shift material. Explain that,
okay.
Maybe like a first grader level.
Okay, so you know how it takes there's a lot of energy in melting and freezing ice, right? And it's all of that energy is what ice melts specifically at 0 degrees C, right? And there's a lot of energy stored in that transition compared to just warming or cooling water. So essentially you're able to get a lot more energy density storing heat in a phase change from solid to liquid than just using like a hot water heater, for example. Ice stores at 0 degrees C, which is great if you're doing refrigeration, not so good if you're trying to heat the building. So what we have is phase change materials that freeze and melt at temperatures that are relevant for buildings. So 6 degrees C and 16 degrees C are relevant for cooling in humid and dry climates, and then we have stuff ranging from 40 to around 70 degrees C for heating. And being able to, what's special about our technology, like there's other things with phase change materials that exist. One thing, our phase change materials are more affordable than some of the other options on the market, and the other thing is that we're actually able to, through a chemical process, shift the melting point of those materials on site so that you can have one tank and be storing cooling in the summer and heating in the winter, so you don't have a tank that's useless for half the year. You're able to use it year round, save on energy costs year round.
What is the size efficiency for your tanks?
Like,
what are we talking about? Are we talking about a room, or are we talking about,
Okay, so how to, so in terms of like size of building versus size of, how many square feet did you say Metro Park is?
Oh my goodness. I haven't even seen, I think, every room in the building.
Okay, so for like a,
Can you do it for a residential home?
you could, like a residential home would be like,
Size of the AC unit and your.
roughly, yeah, it would be about yay big for a residential home. And then for like a mid-sized commercial building that you could fit, I don't know, for like say, okay, Wegmans is a little bit, they have like, they have additional thermal loads because they have the refrigeration section, but if you consider like a commercial building, roughly the size of the Wegmans, you'd be looking at like 2 or 3 like 1,500 gallon tanks. That's 8 feet by 8 feet. That could be sited out the back somewhere. Or the other form factor that we're looking at is like 1 cubic meter or 1 cubic yard, like box-shaped modules that can be stacked in a mechanical room, especially like when people are replacing the old boilers and the heat pump is smaller and now there's extra space in the mechanical room, we can put thermal storage in there. So yeah, it takes up more space than a battery than when you ignore fire suppression equipment, but once you throw in all the fire suppression equipment you need to make a lithium-ion battery like permittable, the space requirement is actually not that different. I should just move over here. Yes. There we go.
Do you guys use this technology at your offices or like the CEO's house, or?
Not yet. So we tested our prototypes in the lab. Our first installation is happening this summer at Smith College, and then the next one is actually planned for the building that we work in. But that's a larger building than the building at Smith that we're piloting in. So that's next time. Yes?
Yeah, I believe you discussed the installation costs, but what about maintenance? Will it be hard?
Maintenance of it, to be honest, compared to other things, with the materials that we're building it out of are pretty long lasting. So the maintenance of the module itself shouldn't be too hard. There will be a yearly service visit for changing the for doing the tuning process, going from summer mode to winter mode. That's at least initially that's something that's better to have someone come out to monitor. But the change back is trivial, and that can be run in an automated fashion.
One last question here.
Yes.
So I'm actually curious about pricing. So let's say it's been college, right? Based off the size, actually based off like square footage, how much money do you think a customer would have to pay?
Like cost per square foot of building? So we have
maybe generalized price.
The generalized price that we have as a target is let me see. This is that would be 80,000 per megawatt hour of storage. That's the best way to do it. Converting it to square footage of building is hard because it really depends on the thermal loads in that building, what you have going on in there.
and also like the surrounding environment. Like your cooling load changes dramatically if you have trees planted next to your house. So
According to this, you should save 20% a year if you were able to pay the initial cost implementation cost.
well, your energy cost savings can be even as high as 50% or more. The 20% is the improvement in energy efficiency. If you're using an air source heat pump, because you're able to run that at different times of day. But in terms of energy cost savings, if you're exposed to time of use rates, which most commercial customers are, that those cost savings can be quite a bit higher.
Well, thank you to all the presenters, and also thank you, Ben, for letting us use this space. So we'll have like a few announcements from just kind of local startup ecosystem members. But before we dive into that, Ben, if you want to say a couple of words, announcements, we'll kick it off from there.
Thank you all for coming. What's really nice this week is that there are a ton of new faces here. And thank you all so much for showing, especially you guys from New York City, for stopping by Rochester on your way to UB, right? And thank you all for making it out here during the sketchy weather earlier, so glad you found your way up here. A couple important announcements on my end with the lounge. We have a Veterans Charity Tournament coming up on February 24th. So we're doing an esports gaming tournament. If you know any veterans, or if you want to just play video games or know anyone that's interested in Call of Duty, please spread awareness of it. All the funds that we're raising from it are going directly to the Veterans Outreach Center. So it's here, locally based Veterans Support Group. The other thing is, we just announced it today, we're partnering with Wolfjaw Studios to host a software game design networking event on March 8th, something like that, yeah. I think that's a Friday. So if you know anyone that's into game design and software development or whatever, it's free. You just have to RSVP through that. But it's a game design studio networking event, so that'll be a fun time. Yes?
Could you repeat the date for the first one? My husband's a veteran.
February 24th. Saturday, February 24th, so next Saturday. Not this coming Saturday, but the next one. And that'll start at noon. There'll be free food thanks to a lot of our sponsors, Barban on the Acorn Exchange, Pop Rock, etc. There's also some like gift cards to those restaurants for the prizes in the tournament. And yeah.
Do people have to register to come, or can they just show
You
up?
can also just show up. Like if you just want to show up, check it out, watch, network, talk, there's free food, coffee, etc. More than welcome to. And then you can also just sign up for the tournament day of. However, we're starting the tournament right at 1 p.m. I'm not waiting. So, yeah. All right, thank you.
Next, we'll have a brief 30 seconds from Lindsay, who's the Director of Small Business Development Center.
So I'm Lindsay Ward. I'm the Regional Director of SUNY Brockport Small Business Development Center, and this is Jaira Santiago. She's one of our business advisors, and we are literally across the street, which I appreciate, coming from our office over here tonight. We serve 5 counties. We are taxpayer supported, which means we provide free advisement to entrepreneurs, small business owners. Government contracting is one of the attributes that we provide to our clients. We do private procurement contracts. We have fantastic projection software that we can offer. So we have an array of services. We provide it to 5 counties, so Monroe County and all the other surrounding counties. The other big thing we do is we provide educational seminars, webinars. So we are always looking to partner anything educationally to entrepreneurs and small business owners in the area. Our website is sbdcbrockport.org. You can sign up for advisement through that website. You can also check out the events. We are also on a multitude of social media platforms, and that's Brockport SBDC. So check out our social media. You'll see some upcoming events that we are partnering with and hosting, and we'd love to see you all there.
So thank you, everybody.
Awesome. We'll have two more of these. So we'll also have Carolyn, who's the founder of COVID Fitness.
You look like it's a question. Hi. Okay, I'll make this quick. I'm Carolyn. Nice to see so many faces. Tomorrow, in case you want to wake up early and have coffee and mingle with people, yay! Love that for you. I will see you there. 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Bar Bantam. Free coffee. If you want a fancy coffee, though, you'll have to pay. Sorry about that. But there's a lot of people there, and it's just meant to be connecting with other people. Same sort of audience, just more people at an earlier time.
And again, literally across the street.
Literally, right, it's like the same spot, just sleep over. Okay.
A lot more such activity.
One block in the other direction from Berlin.
Also coming up next month, we are having all women pitches in celebration of International Women's History Month. So that's very exciting. If you know someone who may want to speak, encourage them to apply through our site. We'll be finalizing who those speakers are soon. Very exciting. And then on March 9th, I myself am hosting my first event for my business. It's called Real Talk, and we're meant to be talking about your business challenges and how to address them. So, if you're free on a Saturday and you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll get there. You can find the details of the event. It's only a half day. But it's also in Sibley Building, right around the corner. So yay!
If anybody's interested in pitching, the application link, if you find Startup Brand Rochester on LinkedIn, like it's the latest thing we shared. Lastly, well, Mike, we heard a lot of fundraising going on. Mike is the venture partner for WeFounder.
Yep. So for those that are interested or looking to raise funds, has anyone heard of crowdfunding? Can somebody tell me what they think of crowdfunding when they hear crowdfunding? Simple one-liner definition? Kickstarter, right? So crowdfunding is a concept of I post something on a platform, a whole bunch of people give me money. Maybe they'll get early access to a product. Maybe they'll get their name on something. Equity crowdfunding, which is what WeFunder does, which is a platform of many, is around like raising funds as you would from like a VC or a loan or a revenue share. So the modern platforms that go outside of the regular just crowdfunding model, a lot of people are most familiar with, is around how some companies can actually raise funds like they would if they wanted to like go through the VC model or even kind of banking loan model. So WeFunder allows a couple channels. With that being said, if people are interested, they're going for a raise, WeFunder fits like some use cases, not all use cases based on what you're looking at. But usually the companies on there can raise between, you're allowed to raise anything over $50,000 on the platform to qualify, up to $5 million by US government regulations that have been updated the past couple of years. But most people on the platform, the average raise around $300,000-$400,000. Most of that will come from your initial network and kind of pushing stuff out, but the other like portion of that would come from just people on the platform. So in the spirit of WeFunder, what they're looking for, there's a lot of like software and tech companies out there, but really their focus is anyone who's got like a lovable product or has a strong like customer consumer base. So if anyone feels like they're in that space or looking to raise around that, that dollar amount, again, you could go up to $5 million. I'd say most are around that multi-$100,000 phase. But there are companies that just raise their 50 grand and kind of walk away. But happy to talk to anyone on that space, kind of what it takes, difference between equity crowdfunding and crowdfunding. There is a nuance there because the equity crowdfunding is regulated by the government. So there's filing of paperwork that has to happen. If I just want to create a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe campaign, I'm not beholden to that, right? On the other side of that, if you're looking to raise bigger rounds or you're beyond that phase, then I'm happy to guide you, at least local connections around here. But that's where if you're already on that path or going that path, you may not want to have the headache of the crowdfund. With the concept of having 1,000 people or 100,000 people fund you on the crowd platform like WeFunder or its competitors, an advantage would be that you still kind of have this one line item on your cap table, if that means anything to And the lead investor, or kind of is the person you designate as kind of the point person. They kind of by default like designate like voting rights go to the founder. That can change, and then also as a follow-on, if you were to sell or have an acquisition or an exit, that would be kind of like a one-time thing that the platform just takes care of you. So you don't need to get 1,000 signatures or 100,000 signatures. So with that, they try to bundle that up and make it easy for you. But if anyone was interested in going down that path or learning more, we do, from myself and our team kind of being signed up as venture partners, we get you a platform discount, which means if you do raise on those platforms, some of the fees will just get wiped away from you. And then also, just if anyone's in general looking into that or learning more, happy to help you. But WeFunder, as far as like why I chose to partner with them, they are like really good at like making connections. So if you're just considering a fundraise, going on the platform and finding companies that may be adjacent to you, they've always been great at like connecting founders. And this global company at this point. So if you want to like look something on the platform, talk to somebody else that's like your company or similar to your company, they've always been really responsive to kind of just connecting folks. So that's one of the things I like about them. So you don't get lost with the numbers, at least not yet. They're not that big, but they do have a large network. They are the largest like platform dollar-wise right now, and they've had several like YC companies like raise on them. So I think they do have like a good audience as far as put out there. But happy to connect more. Based on what you know, Joshua, should we cover anything else on that topic?
No, I mean, I think that
Okay.
that's pretty comprehensive.
All right. I'm sorry if I remember that. Question?
Can the founders do an RUB on that roll-up vehicle where I sign up?
Like people can kind of put in like monthly or quarterly things. Now that I'm aware, we can check. They keep evolving their platform, but if you're looking for something specific like that, they may have that capability. But the general 3 ways of raising funds, right, would be the equity package, right? I don't know if they can do the ROV in the equity package, right, like a rolling fund. Yeah. And then you could do a debt vehicle, or you could do like a revenue share vehicle, and we can give examples of all. But with that being said, the other element is if you're doing a fundraise, you don't have to raise all of your funds on WeFunder. So depending if you already have something going or you're interested in that, there's been a couple, again, like YC company, but Substack, the newsletter club, raising them. They wanted to like have a community thing, but if anyone follows the company, it's like they've raised hundreds of millions of dollars like outside of WeFunder. So it's one of those things that, like, they call it the community round, right? So in that sense, like, you can run both simultaneously. That's
so like bring, like we have angels from the area who want to invest, so looking for a platform, not angelless because they're very expensive in that regard.
So there's other ways to do that, right? But on top of that, like if you're doing strictly like the WeFunder platform, my advice to you would be, if that's the path you're going, stack those guys up to like as you launch. If you exceed the cap, or you do want to cap it, they will also like help you with like creating the SPV on the side. So you can do that with them. You could use sidecar or something else, or just have a lawyer do paperwork for you. But if you're gonna like maximize your crowd raise, I would like feature those like key. If you had strategic angels, like the people you had in the slide, if they're all investors too, I would use it as part of like the sense of WeFunder is it is a little bit of a social media campaign or marketing campaign versus like if you're meeting like angels or strategic investors, those are very closed loop one-on-one conversations. Here it's all public. So if you could splash those guys in, if people are putting in $10, $20, $100,000 checks, if they were willing to go down that path with you, that's where like you get big bang for, because the FOMO of other people on the platform just giving $1,000 checks would come with that. If those guys want different terms, that's where I'd say work with WeFunder or lawyer to just spin up a like SPV. You could do the rolling funds, but somebody who's well versed in that stuff could do that without using AngelStack's platform and give you the same output. But you have to be partnered with, again, there are startup lawyers that do that stuff, and that's all they do. So happy to talk to you about that as well.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions?
There isn't any more pizza left, but there's more drinks. More non-alcoholic drinks too, so feel free to, it's kind of we have this place for donated walks, so it's quicker to mingle, make more friends, fun guys.
Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Mr.